What's good, everybody? Welcome in to another episode, the first episode in what feels like way too long of the Power 2 podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jordan. I'm here with my co host, DJ. How are you?
Yes. Hello. You are freshly 30. I am
Big,
not
big
yet, so
30.
I'm great.
Relax. Relax. Cause you know what? I will take this joke from people who are not a 95 baby, but you're a 95 baby.
Okay, and you will
So
still turn 31st.
relax. You got a couple months.
I will be officially 6 months away in 2 weeks. My half birthday is April 12th. Yes. And yes, I do celebrate my half birthday.
You know, this is a crazy way to start the podcast, but I do have a question. Do you have Gemini in your chart?
Yes, my moon is in Gemini.
Okay. I don't know much about astrology, but I remember us talking about you being a
Yes.
Gemini, and I was like, I don't remember her birthday being in June. But
No.
I don't remember anyone's birthday. Your birthday's in my phone because we're cool, so I'll never forget it.
But your birthday's on my phone too.
It's not like at the top of my mind. And I was like, I don't think her birthday is in June, but I remember talking about Gemini, and I'm like, and then you said half birthday, and I'm like, that makes your birthday in October, which does make
Now she did the quick math.
you know, like 4 plus 6 is 10, and okay.
Yes. My sun sign is Libra. My moon is Gemini. And my rising is Leo, which means that I was always pretty much meant to be a dramatic person on somebody's television. So that's really great. Because I pretty much have the three most outgoing signs as my sun, my moon, and my rising. So if you are if you are super interested in astrology, it's really cool. It's very interesting the way that they break down like what all this stuff like means. Because basically my sun sign is how people receive me, but my moon sign is what my actual personality is. So supposedly, allegedly.
Yeah.
Anyways,
sorry. I'm like, I know it's in my phone. I know what happens. I know I'm a text, but it's just like, whatever. That doesn't matter.
Yes.
How are you breathing?
I'm still celebrating the power of a great cup. This time I have this cup.
All right, big ACC cup.
Big ACC Stanley vibes. This is bigger than my head. I have been consuming about triple the amount of water that I have been lately because of my good old cup. Because you know how like they're starting to give out the tumbler cups now, but they're not actually really like insulated. So it's just like, ew, get away from me. I don't want this. This one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so the people are giving away the insulated cups, right? Okay. But a lot of them are not actually insulated. They just look like Stanleys, but they're not. They don't actually keep. Whereas this one is actually insulated, so the ice actually stays like solid the whole day. So
got nice. You. So here's the thing: I've never worked at a job that gave out cups. It's always been water bottles.
Well.
So like I've never gotten like a Stanley, which is good because I don't need nothing that big. But like I've never gotten like a Stanley or anything. It's always like insulated, like little water bottles and stuff. Like I have like 6 of them floating around. So I was a little.
This is my first one from the job. This is the first one because athletics got these made for something or another. I can't remember. So these didn't even come out of like my department.
Love that.
But yes, the power of a good cup, ladies and gentlemen. That sometimes you're not depressed. You just need a new cup.
Talk to him. You know what else you need? You know what else you need?
To send those cups to your wife. Yes.
Yes. I'm glad you remember because I wasn't even going to press you about that this time.
I know I still haven't done it.
Yeah. But you know what else you need? Speaking of a wife, you need new headphones.
A wife.
I
do need a wife. You are correct.
I'm not going to tell you need a wife because I don't believe in telling people that they should be married. We're not going to have that conversation. But
wow, that's busy.
I just think
my future wife is in the WNBA.
I love that for you. I love that for us. I just think that people are too focused on marriage, and so people be trying to talk to me about marriage, and I'm like, hold on, relax.
Let's talk about something else.
I am married. Like, please. You actually don't want my advice. My advice is probably gonna hurt your feelings because you in this little lovey-dovey, I need to get married phase. And it's like marriage is cool if you're doing it for the right reasons. But if I tell you you're not doing it for the right reasons, I'm gonna hurt your feelings.
Then what?
Please
exactly.
Don't talk to me. Anyway,
so nobody asked Jordan about marriage.
No, you can ask me about marriage if you want a real
Nope.
opinion, but like I'm not gonna give you no like freaking Disney Channel love story, princesses dancing in the wind. Like that's why everybody getting divorced. And I am not negative divorce, but I am saying some of y'all get married for the wrong reason. And it's not your fault. It's society's fault because they tell you you have to get married and then you just marry anyone and you don't actually like them. That's my TED talk. Anyways, DJ, you know what you need? Speaking of a wife and marriage, you need new headphones. As anyone who has watched this can see, there is no longer foam out of my headphones because I am no longer using Beats that I got in the year of our Lord 2020, 13, and or 14, because I don't remember exactly which year. It was either, sorry, it was not 13, 14 or 15. It was either my freshman or sophomore year of college. And they got me through like 9-10 years. They got me through like 9-10 years. But finally, I got a new pair. 30 for 30. Got a new pair for my birthday. Shout out. And now I look like a professional because that was crazy. If anyone has ever watched this on YouTube, but it's fine. You just gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta keep it rolling. And now I have real equipment, and it's actually kind of blowing me because I can hear myself in my ear, and I'm like, maybe my headphones didn't work at all because I don't like hearing myself like this. We started talking. I'm like, ooh, these are new headphones because ew. Like, why?
Like, what is going on?
Why?
And meanwhile, I'm the opposite. Like, I need to hear myself. Like, what? Hello, is this thing on? I need some new headphones. What I'm dealing with. I really at this point am just joking around. I could have been got me some new headphones. But yes, those look fantastic with your Ohio State hat. You know, the reigning national champions.
Say it again, please. One more time.
Love that for y'all. The reigning national champions. Yes. I'm proud of your athletics. I'm not proud of anything else that school's got going on.
Hey.
But
we cannot talk about that today because it's blowing me, and we will not have an episode.
It's just wow.
So Deion Sanders, Deion Sanders signed a 5-year, $54 million contract. I have two thoughts on this. My first and lesser thought is why. My second and more important thought: I love to see a black man get paid. I love to see a black man get paid. I love that for you, Deion. I love that. You threw a little whispers out there. You said, I mean, I would go to the NFL if I was coaching my son, and they said 5 years, 54.
And he said,
that. I love that for you,
I'll be one of the highest paid college coaches. Absolutely.
Oh God, Prime is walking to the bank, sprinting.
Literally,
he is as one of the greatest corners of all time. He is backpedaling to the bank.
I'm
flipping his hips to the bank, if you will.
Go home. I know you're at your house, but go home because that's awful. He is now going to get $10.8 million per year on average, making him the highest paid head coach in the Big 12 Conference and the fourth highest paid college football coach.
I don't think that's accurate. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think people be lying about the information.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you what the internet says.
Who do you, sorry, in the article that you're talking about, who do they have listed over him? Does it say?
No, it just says fourth.
Okay, I can tell you for a fact that that's wrong because, well, actually, let me not say that.
Well, let's just look at
it. I know Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, Lincoln Riley make more. I feel like, who's the other coach?
So that's 3, and that would make him the fourth.
No, but I'm pretty sure Dabo is also an 11.
Okay, hold on.
And I think Steve Sarkisian at Texas just got 11.
See, and here's the thing: you are correct and incorrect all at the same time. So Kirby Smart 13.2, Ryan Day 12.5, Dabo 11.1, Deion 10.8, Sarkisian 10.6. So Deion is the fourth.
Okay.
Then I said, see, you are correct and incorrect all at the same time.
So wait, you said Dabo. Oh, okay.
Dabo.
It's
so the
still
top
wrong.
3 are Kirby, Ryan Day, and Dabo. Then Deion. Then Steve Sarkisian is under him.
Is Lincoln on that list?
No.
It's still wrong. Lincoln makes more than that, but he works at a private school. But I mean, what's the difference between 4 and 5? Like,
wait,
Lincoln makes 11, but because he works at a private school, they don't have to like put his actual numbers out there. But Lincoln, the rumor is that Lincoln makes over 11.
It says 10-year, 110 mil. That makes it around 10 mil per year.
For who?
For Lincoln Riley.
Hold on.
They're putting him at around. I know it says 110 million for 10 years. But for
That's
some reason,
directly 11.
I know. That's why I'm like, why are they saying it's 10 per year?
That's
His
because
salary is estimated.
10 times 10 is 100, not 100.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm confused as to how they came up with that math as well. Whatever. The point is, they're getting paid a stupid amount of money to yell at young children running around with a football. Okay.
Yes. And as I said, I have no idea why, but I love to see a black man get paid. I love that for Deion. I love that for Colorado because everyone said that he was going to come and he wasn't going to stay and all of these things. And despite my criticisms of Deion, which I do have and will always have, he is still the best thing that happened to Colorado. And
so Lincoln Riley is still under Deion because he's 10,043,418 per year, and Deion is a little bit over 10 million.
Interesting. I'm gonna trust you because that's what you're reading. That's not what I've heard on like the podcast and things that I listen to. I've heard that he's over 11, but that's too close to pocket watching for me. I don't care.
That's not my business.
Money.
I don't make that much. So
and I'm never gonna make that much. So it doesn't matter. Deion, I mean, I'm not.
I don't want to get paid $10 million a year, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
let me not put that out on the internet. I do want to get paid $10 million a year, but
if someone wants to pay me $10 million a year, I will accept it. But none of my interest just pay that much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in my career trajectory, the things that I care about don't come with 10 mil a year.
See, mine could.
Yes, and I love that for us.
Oh my goodness. Well, yes. So Coach Prime has obviously my thoughts about him getting paid is really nothing about him getting paid because yes, amen. The thing about Deion Sanders is I knew that man was gonna get paid, right? Like that wasn't a question to me. I didn't know it was gonna be this year, but I was kind of like, yeah, he gonna get his check anyways. What I love is that he is showing a commitment to Colorado past his children, which I think has been my question this entire time is what does it look like with Deion Sanders going into his first year post his kids? And is he as committed to Colorado as it seems like he is, or is he going to take that Cowboys job? Child bye. But you know what I'm saying? Is he going to shop around? Is he going to do all these other things? So to say, no, I'm here, stamp it 5 years, that means that you are here and you're wanting to build this program into something and be the person that spearheads that. So I love that it showed his commitment to Colorado. And I'm here for it. As you know, I drink the primetime Kool-Aid. I'm here for it. I love it. I'm very excited.
I don't drink the Kool-Aid, but I love to see a black man get paid. And I mean, I love Prime. I'm a 30-year-old black kid. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I did not technically grow up on him. He's a little older, but like,
everybody knows Deion Sanders.
Yeah, it's just like that's
you're a football kid.
Like I love Prime. I have some things, but it's not about him personally. So I love him. He's great. And I love to see him get paid. Not that he needed the money, but he gonna keep that money and he gonna keep that money. And love that. Speaking of Colorado, speaking of Deion Sanders, speaking of being a change agent, everyone has wondered, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people have wondered why colleges can't play each other in the spring. Deion also wondered that, and he got Syracuse to sign up to do a joint practice, sort of joint spring game kind of thing. And then because the NCAA is lame, they denied it. So
I'm sorry. Wait.
We may get it eventually, but we are not getting it now.
Interesting. So they said no. Very, very interesting. The explanation was there were two main areas of concern. The timing of the request, noting that most institutions have already planned their spring practice periods and some are at the end of or have completed their spring practice period, and the competitive and recruiting advantage gained by the applicant institutions if a waiver was approved to allow these institutions to engage in activities no other institutions are permitted to do, and the potential academic impact associated with student athletes missing class time to participate in these spring activities.
Okay.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm kind of here. I kind of do understand like the timing of the request. If that was something you wanted to do, yes, you probably should have requested it sooner. Just logistically. But the competitive and recruiting advantage is interesting.
Yeah. So here's my thing. Whatever. But the way they answered that question makes it seem like they should change that rule for 2026 and beyond. Because the answer wasn't no. The answer was you asked us too
Too
soon and we
soon,
can't
too
do it for
late. Yeah.
everyone. If
Yeah.
it's not just a straight no, then I think you should change that rule. And
I
I don't
agree.
know that they will, right? I wonder if someone who actually has a voice that affects change, I was going to say matter, but our voice matters in this space, has a voice that affects change, is going to hear that and be like, okay, so if it's too soon, how about we do it for 2026? Because the answer doesn't the answer doesn't sound like no. It sounds like not right
No,
now.
yeah. It
So
definitely hasn't. It definitely wasn't a no. It was it's too late for sure. But I think it's cool because it's a very pro style way of thinking, right? You can't really tell how ready your guys are if they're playing against each other. They should kind of get some soft idea of what it looks like playing against other teams, because it wasn't a proposal that there would be it would be contact and no contact, to keep it like on the safer side. So yeah, I'm here for it. I think that they just have to work out the kinks within the NCAA to allow something like that to happen, because again, there's a lot of logistics associated with doing spring practices together in games and things like that. And in Syracuse
and it
and
was only
Colorado
be
are
like
not
one or
close.
two. Yeah, it was only going to be like one or two practices. Like essentially, I think they call it practice because technically the spring game counts as a practice,
Yeah.
but it probably would have been what the NFL does, which would have been like 3 practices. Like the NFL,
Yeah.
typically they do 2 practices and then they do the game, like the what is it called? The
Preseason.
preseason game. I think
Mm-hmm.
it probably would have been 2 practices and then the spring game, and you get 15. So it's 2 or 3 practices out of your 15. But I do understand like too soon, but the
Yeah.
response very much sounds like not yet.
We're not
Instead of
against it.
no, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They are definitely not against it. Because the thing about the NCAA is if they hate something, they don't mince words about it. They'll be like,
Right.
no, we're not doing it and we're never doing it. And don't ever ask us, and don't ask our descendants, and don't ask our descendants, and don't ever come ever again. Like if the NCAA hates something, we would know. So I'm here for it.
Yes. To move along, baseball happened for those of you who follow baseball.
And what is that? What do you mean baseball? Didn't it just end? I'm confused. Does baseball go all year? I'm being silly. I know it doesn't, but I'm just like,
baseball.
opening day
I
is
swear,
so early. It feels like
baseball and basketball last so long.
it's forever. I was talking to my best friend about that, because she was like, "Isn't the men's basketball almost done?" I said, "Girl, we ain't gonna be done till June."
Okay, hold on. Basketball is worse though, because baseball ends in October. So November, December, January, February, March.
That's 5 months in between, right?
5 months,
4,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, basketball ends in July,
June.
June. So July, August, September. Doesn't it start in October?
It starts preseason, around October. They get 4 months off. Yeah,
basketball's only 4. Baseball gets 5.
barely.
Yes, but
barely, because I feel like they're always playing baseball. Like Jesus Christ, I'm like, okay, because the World Series happens when? That happens in
October.
like. Why do I always feel like the? Oh yeah, because it's around my birthday. It's always around my birthday. Yeah.
So I think what you're thinking about is because college is unoriginal, so they call it the College World Series, and that happens in April or May or
Probably.
whatever.
I don't know.
That's going on like now. Like they're in the baseball and softball that's happening now, and so you're probably thinking that, but like the real World Series, quote unquote, is
It does happen around my birthday. I do be remembering that, because I went out in Houston one time. I was in Houston when the Houston Astros went to the World Series. And they were cheating, yes, but that's not my business. I'm not a baseball fan. But yes, I was in Houston when they were in the World Series, and like I was out at like a nightlife type place. Like it was a club, and they were playing a game, and people were literally standing there watching baseball in the middle of the club. I was like, I love this for y'all. I just am so bored by baseball. Like it's snooze fest. I'm sorry. I'm if you love baseball, that's fine. I'm going to sleep.
When you come to New York, we're going to go to a baseball game.
I would love to go to one. I've been to a Rangers game. I didn't know a clue about what was going on. My friend
watching baseball on TV is insane. I literally only do it for like the World Series, and also only if the Yankees are in it. Like I watched the Yankees this year in the playoffs after they made it to the championship game, and then the AL championship, and then I watched the World Series,
the Super Bowl.
But like in June in May and
I'm not
any
turning on a
singular
baseball
other.
game.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. But I
I'm not
will go.
turning it on.
I went to
I
like
will
3
go.
or
Yeah.
4 Yankees games last year, and it was great.
I went to a Rangers game, and I've been to several Frisco Rough Riders games, which is our um, minor league
Mhm,
team that is a very big feeder for the Texas Rangers.
mhm.
Um, and I've been to those games, and they're a hoot and a half. If y'all are unaware, the Frisco Rough Riders Stadium is the first ever baseball stadium to feature a lazy river.
Okay.
It made like sports news about a decade ago now. But the Frisco Rough Riders like stadium, like they're just known to do other types of stuff there to make it a more entertaining facility. And so they threw a lazy river in there. And my best friend
Okay.
does not like sports. And she was like, I want to go to the baseball field with a lazy river. I was like,
We
you
went there.
want to go watch baseball? Because the ticket is basically the same price as like a regular ticket. Like,
Mhm.
or you could buy like a package and comes with like drinks and stuff. It's really cool.
Well,
But like
you know,
that's how I would want to enjoy a baseball game is floating around a lazy river. Because if you force me to just stand there and watch it, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
I won't say everywhere, but certain stadiums, especially the Yankees, because they have good food. Um, baseball games are fun in person. Uh,
Yes.
I think, in my opinion, though, I think almost anything can be fun in person if you're with the right people.
Okay. Fair. We love a philosophy.
But like baseball games are fun in person. On TV, insane.
Absolutely not. Thank you so much.
But the Yankees, I am a Yankees fan. The Yankees hit 15 home runs in 3 games. So shout out to the Yankees. All
Wow.
this means is they're setting me up for disappointment.
That's
I love
they're
that.
peeking too early.
Yeah. Because there's no way. I mean, knock on wood. There's oh my god, these headphones are good. I heard that crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty loud.
There's no way I get an Ohio State and Yankees World Series at the same time in the same year. But knock on wood.
Oh, are the Ohio State people in the World Series right now?
No. Ohio State won the
Oh.
national championship. I'm just saying there's no way.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, Ohio State baseball is not good.
Oh.
Okay.
SMU doesn't have a baseball team, so
interesting. We'll talk about that later.
It's a Title IX thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And a space thing, to be honest.
Baseball is not typically the one they get rid of for Title IX, but I understand. I mean, I support it. I don't
We
care
had
either
baseball
way,
like a
but
million years ago prior to Title IX, and then once it came,
I
like
got you.
that was
They typically take away like men's soccer, like stuff like that. They don't typically take away baseball because it's America's pastime.
But there was also like the logistics behind it was really like the issue as well. Like we don't have space. We don't have space. Like where we're situated in Dallas, there was just no way for us to have a baseball team because they wouldn't have anywhere to practice because where the Rangers play is like 45 minutes from SMU. So there's not like not a facility nearby that they could have been using or anything like that.
Understood. I hate to bring this up.
Oh Lordy.
Largely for the sake of time. And also this is gonna piss you off.
Oh.
Former Michigan coach Matt Wise, who got fired not too long before the cheating scandal, we finally figured out what happened. And what happened is that he was hacking into thousands of female college athletes' iClouds and downloading their pictures and tracking them and keeping notes on them, commenting on their body and their sexuality and things like that. And when I say 1,000, I mean 1,000. I read the article. Again, he's in Michigan. Again, Division 1, and there was a like D3 school in Arizona that no one knows how he even did it, that he had pictures of the female athletes, and they said that on top of all of the creepiness of this, they said it was one of the weirdest cases they've ever seen, because typically when that happens, it's because of revenge porn and or it's to like sell. And he was just keeping them for himself and writing notes on their body and their sexuality for his own whatever sort of fucked up personal pleasure. And he has a federal case, and I will let you speak in a second. I would just like to let people know if you don't know, the federal government does not do things if they don't have to. If anyone is ever brought up on a Fed case, they're going to jail. Like there's
Goodbye.
a totally separate thing about in California about this guy who's going on a federal RICO. The mafia was federal RICO, and I saw someone say like, "Oh, well, we saw RICO in Atlanta with Young Thug and them, so maybe they get off." I would just like to let you know, state RICO, federal RICO, not the same. Federal RICO does not happen if they don't have you. I don't know what the hell they were doing in Atlanta. The people in California under the federal RICO, they're done for. And so he has FBI federal charges. He's going to hell and jail. But a lot of people were like, because it took years. Like he got fired like years ago, and we were like before the scandal and everything, and like it was just like all they said was like computer crimes, and we're like, what is going on? He was hacking into female college athletes' iClouds and phones across the nation and downloading their intimate pictures and taking notes of them and commenting on their body and sexuality.
And this is what people use hacking skills for instead of canceling student loans. Like, that's crazy. I don't even have like I don't even know if I have like enough like brain cells to like rub together to like conceptualize what it is that you just said to me, store it in my mind, and then like have the synapses required in order to respond, because like
it's insane.
There is just, I don't ever want to hear people talk about that it's not hard for women, or because we have certain equalities and independencies and things like that, that we are not still currently dealing with a very, very high level of oppression, because that's a form of oppression. That is a form of you took these young women, you commodified them, you objectified them, and it was for your own sick, weird like, where do you get off from being like, I'm going to violate someone's privacy? First of all, I'm going to violate someone's privacy, and then I think that I'm the big kahuna, and everything that I say is correct, and so I'm going to sit here and make my own comments about how XYZQRS girl looks, and those poor girls, thousands, those poor girls,
and some of them still don't know. Like, the article came out, and at the time of the article, Michigan had not notified their female athletes whose data was breached, because if he did it in Arizona, he did it at home.
Of course, he probably started there, and that's the thing. Those
and
poor
Michigan
young women
had not like told the athletes on their campus whose information was breached.
That's just that is really, really gross and disgusting. He is going to hell and jail. And it just goes to show like how really gross people can be. Like, that's just like, what? You ain't got nothing else to do. You're a football coach. I know you're busy. Where the hell did you find the time to even do that? At a school like Michigan, no less. Like, you're not coaching freaking, Christian Episcopal School of Nowhere Church of God in Christ in, buttfuck Louisiana. You are literally coaching one of the most recognizable programs in college football. What the fuck do you even have time to sit and violate when you're a horrible person, you find the time?
That's essentially the answer.
Let's go to an ad break. I'm pissed.
Sorry to leave you like this for the ads, but we'll be back on the ads and we'll talk about something else, because that's insane and that's disgusting. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Power 2 podcast. Let's move on.
We don't even have a pithy joke. Like,
no.
Seriously, the Power 2 podcast Dateline edition. Like,
Like we try to spin the power. We try to do
Oh
that. If
my gosh.
nothing
Well,
else,
we
we throw in the
discussed
power of friendship, and we just
yes.
I can't
Where we
do it all
discussed the power of a federal case, period.
Hey, listen. Listen. I watch a lot of documentaries. I watch a lot of true crime. I will tell you one thing. If the case is federal, you're going to
Going
jail.
to prison.
And I will just say this because not everyone knows this. And I'm not going to pretend to know everything, but I will say this. You have to petition. Either two things have to happen. Either the feds have to bring the case on you, and the feds are slow
Right. And
intentionally.
they'll follow
Think
your
about
fingers before they do that.
literally years. I mean, like we
Yeah.
found out about this in like they said he's been doing this since like 2019, and he got fired in like 2022 or 2023, and we just figured out what happened. So even if you start at the time he got fired, the case was a year or so before that. It's been 3 or 4 years. You think about the mafia, the feds literally let people kill people. Like they literally like we are hearing through the microphone that you are going to kill someone. We're going to let you kill them so then we can arrest you for RICO. Because if we don't let you kill them, we don't have a case.
You don't have a case?
Fed charge,
We don't have a
and
case.
so either the feds bring on the charges, or the second thing, you have to petition for Fed charges, and you will not get Fed charges if they don't think they'll win. Which,
Exactly.
for example, why the Young Thug thing was a state RICO. It wasn't a federal RICO. The thing in California is a federal RICO, right? Like hate crime is a federal charge. You have to petition for hate crime. If they do not think that I'm sorry, it doesn't happen a lot because America's racist, and I will just leave it there. Anytime someone has, from my understanding, many, if not every time someone has come up on a hate charge, they get convicted for it. Because if they can't get convicted for it, they won't let you add hate crime to the case. So he going to hell in jail. That's all I will say. And
in a gasoline-soaked hand basket. Anyways.
Is the super regional bad for basketball? While I explain the super regional, because we did not confirm this before the show, can you please confirm that this is only women's and not men's? Like, can you Google that for me really quick?
Oh, yes.
I'm pretty sure it's only women's, but just to make sure. So for those of you who don't know, the super regional is essentially the way the tournament has worked. The women's tournament, because I think it's only for the women's. The way it has worked up until 2023, and the way I believe we are going to confirm, I believe the men's tournament still works, is when you get to the regionals, which is the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, it is 4 sites. If you do quick math, it is 4 sites of 4.
Yes.
You play the game, and then you play the second game of the winner. They do it based on the bracket, and then you come together for the final 4, everyone at one site. For reasons that I do not agree with and that are BS, they decided in 2019 for 2023 and beyond that the women's tournament was going to have a super regional, which is 2 sites instead of 4. If we want to do quick math, that means 8 teams per site instead of 4. And coaches are pissed. Gino's pissed. Kim Mulkey's pissed. I read the article. Those are the 2 most recent, but other coaches have spoken out about it. And I will, if you're like, why does this matter? Why does it matter? I will tell you one of the reasons why it matters. There are one or 2 courts, typically 1. You have 8.
The men's are not super regional. It's just
okay. I didn't think so. So you have 1 court and all of these things, right? And so literally for the super regional this year, the players had to be up at like 5:30, 6 a.m. to practice, and they were doing media availability at 7 a.m. because you were trying to get 8 teams on 1 court to practice and then clean off the court, bring in the stands, do all the stuff, the decorating, whatever, for the games, and then you have 2 games each day. So coaches are mad, and it messed up the TV schedule. It messed up the practice. It messed up media availability. It messes up travel. And for some, most importantly, it messes up fans. Because if you think about it, when it's the 4 spots, because they do it in quadrants of the United States, essentially, it may not be close to everyone. But when it's 4, you have someone in the Northeast, you have someone in the Midwest, you have someone on the West Coast, and then depending, maybe the fourth one is in the Midwest, maybe it's in the Southeast, but it covers a large area of the United States. And so fans can typically come closer. But this year, for example, it was in Spokane, Washington, and Birmingham,
Alabama.
For
And
those
this
of you who
is
don't understand, how is anyone from the Midwest to the East Coast to the upper north? I mean, Yukon, for example, how is anyone from up there getting to Birmingham, Alabama, or Spokane, Washington?
and there's just a significant there's an issue with this on both sides with the super regional. Right now, let's give context as to why we're even talking about this. We're talking about this because Gino Auriemma, the coach of UConn, spoke out in his displeasure against the super regional. They also asked Dawn Staley about it. She did not feel as strongly as he did, and then they also asked Kim Mulkey about it, and Kim Mulkey also felt like the super regional was an issue. Because the other thing with the super regional, plainly put, is that they're put, like you had just said, Spokane, Washington, and Birmingham. They're putting it in UNC Greensboro and Albany, New York. Like they're sending these women to random places, that, not trying to be funny, and expecting fans to travel out there, and expecting all of these players and teams and all these things to have equitable accommodations. Like that's just not possible. Like if you just think about taking 8 teams, 8 basketball teams, 8 practice squads, 8 coaching staffs, okay, 8 bands, 8 cheerleading squads, 8 all of that. Let's take all of the things that you would travel with, and you're going to somewhere like an Albany. No tea, no shade, but there's not going to be enough hotels. There's not going to be enough quality, accommodations. I think a couple years ago, the Arkansas State team, when they played UConn, they had to stay in a hotel that was 45 minutes away from where they were playing. So it's just like the logistics of it all is also an issue with the super regional. They don't get to have, to go on the court and have shoot around at a decent hour. They got to go do shoot around at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning because there's 7 other teams that also need to do it. So it's a logistical issue 100% for those involved, but it's being like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's being like almost like cloaked in this idea that this is supposed to like this is supposed to be good for business.
Right, but it's not.
But it's not. It's not. And supposedly they were all the NCAA were saying like, oh, it's kind of like a mini Final Four is what it is that they're trying to create, but it's the unfortunate part about this is that this is locked in until 2028.
So according to Gino and according to Kim specifically said, I don't believe if it's the best thing that it's not possible.
I agree with her as well.
Go back to the table and fix it.
Yeah. She said, why can't we just add 2 sites for next year? Like, I feel like whatever it is can be worked out. And she's not incorrect. But yeah, it's a very, very big complication as far as time of things and also just like travel for the teams. It's very difficult, honestly. To make this sort of decision and say it's better for business, but it's actually worse for the actual product makes no sense.
And my thing is, I like not to do the whole like football thing, right? But like football brings in more money. It has more not more teams, but it's more money, a larger roster, all of these things, whatever. And when football wanted to make a change, they didn't care about that contract.
Nope.
When they wanted a 12-team playoff, what did they do?
They made a 12-team playoff.
So you can't tell me it's not possible. Because if you can do it with football, you can do it with women's basketball. You can do it with any sport. Like they said, we want something different. They did it. So like, I think Kim is correct. She didn't bring up football, but I am. Like, if you can do it with football, you can do it with this. You can change it.
Yes, I agree. And I think especially if, in my opinion, the coaches that move the needle the most when it comes to the sport are saying openly that they have an issue with this structure, then it would behoove you to listen because they both have been coaching for an extremely long time. They've experienced this tournament specifically in many different iterations. And I think that what they're saying is completely valid. So, and it might be cool to have all 8 teams there and it feels like an AAU tournament because everybody's there and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, again, Also, we should be doing that in cities like a Chicago, like a Los Angeles, like a, you know what I mean? And go somewhere where it's easier for actual fans to get out to, but it's also easy for each team to come, have good accommodations, and kind of have a schedule that makes sense. Because that's the other thing, too, in my opinion. If you're going to do this super regional, then you need to have multiple courts available. You need to have you need to have a more robust structure for this, and maybe not bounce city to city to city, but keep it in two certain cities where you can have customized facilities to accommodate something like that. Because that's the other issue too, is you're hosting these super regionals at like Duke, and like they only got one basketball court.
Yep.
So there's also that, like, you got to think about facilities and all these other things. And to be frank with you, and I'm just going to keep it funky because that's what I always do here, I just feel like a lot of decisions get made based on this ridiculous notion that nobody cares. Right? That nobody cares because they couldn't even call women's March Madness until last year. They didn't even get the same co-branding, even though they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing. So to be frank, it's giving, we're just going to shove the women's tournament over here because who cares? And they were not prepared for what we now are experiencing, which is the absolute height of women's sports, the absolute height of women's basketball, and people paying attention and saying, hey, wait, this doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
So I'm just going to keep it real, because the biggest thing, Tara Vanderveer talked about this, the biggest difference between now and then is that women's basketball is actually being promoted properly for the first time ever. And now look at us. Look at where we have come. So yeah, Spokane, Washington sounded cute 5 years ago when y'all were only pulling in 5,000 fans. That's not cute now. Thank you so much.
And that's, yeah, it is. I mean, it is truly just that it wasn't being, like you said, it wasn't being marketed. It wasn't being talked about. It wasn't being properly. It's just like, even if we just do simple math, right? If you take away simple math, there are more women in the country than there are men.
Hello.
So you're telling me that you couldn't get X percentage of them to care about women's sports if you actually like put it in front of them? Because now we see soccer put in front of them, and who cares about soccer? It's exploded. We see women's basketball put in front of them. It's exploded. You see all of these things happening. You get these TV deals and all, like literally they're already, if we want to count the explosion in the last 2 or 3 years, they're already talking about women's basketball reaching $1 billion in the next like 5 to 10 years.
It's already, yes.
So it's like, it's just, it's not that it's impossible. They just weren't doing it. And they're making these short-term decisions, and they're trying to make it easy on them instead of actually do it. Because the thing is, like, football didn't Football didn't just explode. Like, it didn't just become popular. Baseball didn't just become popular. Like, basketball didn't just become popular. They did things like nobody just woke up like, oh, I love football. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's why a lot of the NBA is the NBA, but the league before the NBA literally failed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't. All of this stuff wasn't an instant success. The NFL had to combine to succeed. Like,
exactly. That's where we got the AFC and the NFC from, right? Like,
because it was 2 leagues.
It was 2 leagues. Yeah.
These things didn't just happen, but they did all the work for the men's sports, and then they said women don't care about sports and men don't care about women, and just left it alone. And now
they left it alone. And even the NFL is still trying to figure out how to appeal to female fans, because they still can't believe that women like the NFL. They can't believe it. And they just started having like feminized merch for NFL teams like 2 years ago, because it's still occurring to them that a real consumer base of the NFL is women between the ages of 18 and 35. Like, yes, women like sports as well. Women play sports. Women are interesting to watch as athletes just as much as men. Like, period. I don't understand what's so damn hard about that. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's almost like, as a Black person, I'm tired of explaining to you that I'm just like I'm a person just like you. Like, there's nothing that my Black skin is making different about me except the fact that I just look different. Like, that is all. I'm tired of explaining that. I am tired of it being like, wow, these Black people are making such great accomplishments. Yes, because we're regular people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that. Like, I don't understand why that's even needed to be damn explained. Like, because the other thing about it too is when the WNBA first came out, the WNBA was having sold out games. It was very, very popular because it was off the backs of the first gold medal winning women's basketball team for Team USA. So it was very, very popular. There was a point where the WNBA was it. And then when it became cool to hate women, then that's when you saw the downfall in it. And also because the WNBA has poor leadership, but I can't get into that right now. So the point I'm getting at is when it comes to women's sports, it's like we want to abandon all the logic. We don't want to put the resources. We don't want to put the time. We don't want to put the effort. We don't want to use the brain cells because surely no one's paying attention. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that it's biting them in the butt now. This is what you get for being funny. Talking about something. I don't think it's a 1 year or 2 year thing. I think you need it to see if it's a little bit of longevity, blah, 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 blah. There is longevity.
But also, that's a bullshit argument because why didn't you do it for the men's?
Why didn't you do it for the men's? Because also
if it was a good business strategy, why didn't you do it for the men's?
Thank you. Because y'all love to do stuff where y'all want to make these little apples to apples comparisons between men and women. Okay, so then why don't you structure the tournaments the same? We finally get to call them both March Madness. So why are we not structuring the tournament just like the men's tournament? Because that's where the quote unquote March Madness brand comes from, is the men's side. So if we are trying to continue this brand and continue this recognition of what March Madness is, then it should be structured the exact same way as the men's.
Talk about it. So let's play a really quick game. Can you name me 5 men's basketball players in college? Because I did it in my head and I can't. You may be able to. That's one.
Julian Reese.
That's 2. I'm laughing because he was also on my list. I was gonna say Angel's brother.
Cooper Flag, Julian Reese. What's really, really sad, y'all, is I couldn't even name people like on the SMU team. Like I'm trying to think of like one of the SMU guys, and I can't think of any of their names. I
have a third. Let's do it together. So you have 2. I think his name is Derek Queen. It may not, his last name not be Queen, but it's Derek something. It's the dude who hit the buzzer beater for Maryland, and I only know it because he hit a buzzer beater for Maryland.
Yep, nope, not a clue. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't. And we talked. My manager is from Philly, and I think she's rubbing off on me. And we talked about this before. How men's college basketball is the worst iteration of basketball. So the unfortunate situation here, as well as like, I could not tell you the last time I sat down and watched a men's basketball game full length besides an SMU one, like as a social event. I'm with my classmates.
But my thing is, I haven't watched a single women's basketball game until March Madness, and I could name like 10 women's basketball players. It's just because they're popular. Like it's popular. That's the thing that people want, because like I can name 1 million men's basketball players. Even I can name more NBA players than WNBA players.
1,000 players
because it's popular.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying you. I'm saying me.
I know. That's what I was like. Well, hold on.
Because like I haven't got as much into the W because I just don't watch basketball. So like I'm getting more into it, but like I'll text you and be like, what is this girl? What is this woman's name? Like I love her game. It just hasn't clicked with me yet because like I just don't watch basketball. So like, but now that I do, I am more likely to watch the W than the men's. I have been in New York. I've been to Liberty games. I still haven't been to a Knicks or Nets game. So like but I just don't know their names. But like I could probably name you 15 women's basketball players.
Oh, 100%. And here's the thing about college women's basketball versus college men's basketball, and we can kind of use this as a segue as well, is the storylines are a lot more interesting because we are dealing with athletes who they play their entire careers. They play the full 4 years. Some of them play a 5th year, a 6th year, whatever the case is. So many men's players are one and done. You don't get to see their development. You don't get to see, understand who they are unless they have a lot of NIL deals and they're like a big name, like a Cooper Flag. You don't really get to see that. Whereas on the women's side, you have stories like Haley Van Lith, where she's gone to the elite, first player ever to go to the Elite 8 with 3 different teams because she played all 5 years of college.
Come on, stop playing.
You know what I mean? Like she played all 5 years of college. So now she has this storyline that's interesting. When she plays her old teams, that makes it interesting. You have people like Raven Johnson, who her first year or second year, I believe, in South Carolina, Caitlin Clark put so much space between her and waved her off because she knew that she wasn't a 3-point shooter, and she came back and shot like 35% from the line the next year. Like there's so many stories to get into and to be interested in and to be invested in, because so many of these players we've been watching for the last couple years. You know what I mean? And there's a level of fandom that's easier to have on the women's side because, like, the same thing with Paige Beckers. Like, the fact that this tournament is kind of like a farewell tour for her. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with that. Like, I love that, like, we are cognizant of what it is that she's done at UConn, and we are celebrating her in that way as she makes her way through the tournament. Like, we're not going to do that for a fifth-year male player because most of them are not playing till their fifth year, or they're not even, a lot of them aren't even playing for a second.
But not even that. Just and maybe you can't name as many because you'd have to think about it and not have to think about it. Think about the number of freshmen women's basketball players we know.
Oh my God, Sarah Strong, Toby Fournier, like Michaela Blakes, freaking Juju Watkins was a freshman obviously last year, but everybody knew her.
What's the I was gonna say her name and then I forgot. What's the freshman on USC? The
Kennedy Smith.
The
one who looks like Juju.
There's you already said Sarah Strong. Like, you could just, like, you can name these freshmen on these big teams, like, but like outside Cooper Flagg, I don't know. And I think Derek Queen is a freshman. But again, I learned his name 3 days ago because he hit a big shot.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone. And like, well, actually that's not true. There's two other names that I know, but it's because I live in New York and my friend went to Rutgers, Ace Bailey, and I don't remember the other guy's name, but Rutgers has two really good freshmen. I know that because of proximity. Like, if I was in Ohio, I wouldn't have known them. Like, I know that because, like, one of my good friends went to Rutgers and used to work with the program, and he talks to me about those players. I wouldn't have known that if I was still in Ohio. And like, Ace Bailey is projected to be like the number 3 pick in the NFL in the NBA draft. And like, have you heard of him?
Not a clue. But also, I do think that women are leveraging NIL a lot better than men are.
But the thing with that is, yes, they are, but why? Because they can. Because they're more marketable, right? Yeah. And so it's just like, you can't tell me women's sports weren't marketable. You just weren't marketing them.
You weren't marketing them.
What has changed in the last 2 years?
Nothing. Nothing in the sense that, like, the game hasn't changed, but the promotion, the energy, the resources.
That's the only thing that's
changed. There was even a study done on, like, the amount of promotion that women's sports versus men's sports get on collegiate university, on collegiate, like, Instagram pages. Basically, there was a study done that showed that it's like 40% less. Like, it's stupid, the numbers of, like, how many posts per game or posts per accomplishment a women's team would get versus a men's team. Even if the men's team is not as successful as a women's team, they still get promoted more.
I literally just watched the commercial a million times because I'm watching the tournament that had Juju, Paige, and Cooper Flagg in it. And Cooper was in it maybe 2 scenes, and Juju and Paige were in it. And Cooper is a name. Like, that is a legit name. It was voiced by Paige. Voiced by Paige. Paige and Juju was in it the most. Cooper was in it a little bit. But that's just like, Cooper, he's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. We knew he was going to be the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years ago.
The moment he touched the basketball. Yeah.
And this is nothing to him. But like, Juju has 2.5 more years in college, right?
And she might play a fifth now that she's lost. Yeah, now that she's lost.
Has been in college for 5 years, and Cooper is, not even joking, the best NBA prospect in years outside of Wemby. Last year's draft, I don't even know who the hell those players were.
Zach Edey, they were obsessed with Zach Edey.
He is a very good prospect, and he's not doing the numbers of them, and it has nothing. He's literally, like, there's a very real chance that he one and done's championship.
Oh, of course.
Like, that's how good he is.
Well,
and we're still talking about all of these other players, like these women, these female players. Like, there's I can't think of her name right now. There's a gymnast at LSU who is super popular. Yes, super popular.
Oh my gosh, what the heck is her name? Olivia something.
Yeah, she's a gymnast, right? She ain't been to the Olympics. She is just as popular as her boyfriend, who is arguably one of the best pitching prospects ever.
Livy Dune
is one of the her boyfriend is one of the Paul Skeens is one of the best pitching prospects ever, and people are already projecting him to be a Hall of Famer.
Okay, we need to calm down. But
no. He might be. I'm telling you, he's that good. He's that he is legitimately that good. Literally, like, his rookie year, he was a top 10 pitcher in the league. He's that good. And if he's healthy and he plays that way, he legitimately may be a Hall of Famer. My point is, he is already top 10 to 20 in his sport, and he's been in the sport for a year, and she is a gymnast who didn't make the Olympics, and she's just as big or bigger than him.
Oh
So
my
you
gosh,
can't
she's like
tell
one
me
of the
that
highest paid.
you can't tell me that women aren't marketable when this dude's about to be in the fucking Hall of Fame if he stays healthy.
I
And
also
she
think
didn't and the Olympics is the top, and this is not, I'm not shading her, but the Olympics is the top of her sport, and she has never made it there. He is at the top of his sport. And I would bet you more people know her than him. Do you know do you know do you know Paul Skeens?
nope. But I also don't know baseball.
But it doesn't matter.
Like,
Like
so, like, I don't even
they're
know, like,
they're
the
LSU,
main people in baseball in general. Like, I just don't know.
but they're LSU's power couple. They met in school. They've been dating for a while. He
Mm,
went first round. I know them because they're together, sort of thing.
mm.
And you know her, but not him. And
I
he's like the
only know
first
her
pick.
because I watched the documentary because I didn't really know her before. I'm gonna
But
be
yeah,
honest. I didn't really know her before.
yeah. So it just
But I understand your point. Like,
you
it's
can't tell me that women aren't marketable when you just can't.
and I think it's also like when it comes to marketing, like principles, right? I think the problem was there's like almost this weird thing where like you can market a man's athleticism and it's fine, but you don't want to market a woman's athleticism, even though they're both athletes. So there was a lot of that going on of like it almost seeming like you didn't know what to market when it came to women. And it's like you could still market them similarly. Like but then there's other ways to get them involved as well, like Juju being one of the first players to have an NIL deal that's makeup. Like
Yeah.
that makes sense. You
Like
know what I mean? Like
why are we just now getting makeup and like
hair care,
hair
skincare,
and like
those
why are we
sorts of
just not
things. Like, why was that? Should always have been a relationship, a combination between
yeah.
women's sports and brands. It doesn't have to be the same types of brands that do men's
Like
sport. Like for
Shea
me, it's just like
Moisture
who was
is
in the freaking conference room? Like who was making these decisions? And I'm not even trying to be funny. It had to be a whole bunch of old white dudes because that's the only people who will overlook something so obvious. Like
isn't
no
Shea
shade,
Moisture
but
the
like
title sponsor of the tournament right now? Because I keep
they're the
seeing
title
them.
sponsor of the halftime show.
Okay. Like Shea Moisture, all these black women in sports, everybody, whether they use it or not, every black woman knows.
We all know Shea Moisture. We all know, and Shea
half
Moisture also
half the black men know Shea Moisture. I used to use Shea Moisture. You know what I'm saying?
Is it Shea Moisture?
What?
I'm sorry. There's a black Miel. Miel is a brand that Angel Reese had an NIL deal with, and so then Miel now has a partnership with the Chicago Sky. It's really that simple. Where they do free trolley rides from the parking lot to the stadium. They sponsor trolley rides, and they have the Angel's face on it from the ad that she did last year.
It's not that hard. It's not.
It's really not. It's really not. Because again, if men can be marketed in athletic clothing, athletic drinks, isotonic beverages, that sort of thing, whatever, you can do the women
don't drink it. You seen Gigi's Flage's Powerade commercial?
Oh my God, what?
Powerade
when I'm
listen,
like what did she say?
Powerade is gross. But if Powerade is gross and I wanted to buy some.
Hate it. Oh my God.
Like it don't matter. It's gross. I wanted to buy some. Just for Big Foe. Like for Big Foe, I almost got some Powerade, I swear.
And you know what? Because I also hate Powerade. I'm sorry, but the best isotonic beverage on this planet is Body Armor.
Yes.
I will not be taking any further questions.
It's
Body Armor. Like
and this is the one thing that I want to say before we move on. And we're gonna have to change the outset of our show because we're running too long.
Yes.
This is why I will always support Nike, because I know it's performative. I know it's performative, but whether it is or is not, Nike is always on the right side of history. Nike supported Asia. Nike supported LeBron. Nike supported Serena when they were calling her monkeys and doing all this stuff. When she was
did the first
and having blood clots, they created they literally created a totally new uniform for her. They did all of these things. They've always, and so
they've done it for Sha'Carri as well.
I understand. Yes, I understand. And Sha'Carri, they could have easily dropped her. She failed out of the Olympics for smoking weed, and they stuck with her. And
stuck behind Colin Kaepernick.
Yes, and so you can call it performative, you can say whatever, but when so many companies, the overwhelming majority of companies aren't even willing to perform and their quote unquote activism, I have to stand behind Nike and whoever created the "you can't win, so win."
You're a genius. They are geniuses.
It's just
now I
like,
don't understand why
sure,
Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu are in that because, well, I guess Sabrina now because she just got a championship.
yes,
I don't really
but
understand why Caitlin Clark is in that commercial because she
my
ain't win
thing
it.
is just
But
like, it's not that hard.
it's
It's
not
really
hard.
not that hard.
And
And
have you
Nike
seen
seems special now, and it's just because they respect Black and women athletes, and they're not doing anything special. I mean, they're genuinely not, but it's special because no one else is doing it. And so
which is
now it seems quote unquote revolutionary because there's women, there's female athletes in Super Bowl commercials. Why the hell was that the first Super Bowl commercial for women? Like, what?
what are we
It's
doing?
just these things just don't make sense to me.
Now, it wasn't the first, well, I guess maybe from an athletic brand because Windows actually had a very, very powerful commercial about women in sports as well as Dove as well in the last
So, do you
couple
remember
of
what
years.
it was? Because they said that was the first something commercial
It
for
might have been the first athletic like
or something.
wear,
It
like
was
Nike
yeah.
commercial that was women's because there have
No,
been a lot.
no, no. That's what it was. It was Nike's first Super Bowl commercial.
Exactly. Oh, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah. It was their first Super
Nike
Bowl
sets
commercial in like 13 years or something like
yeah,
that.
because like Nike sets a big brand, they don't need to waste money on
They
Super
don't
Bowl.
have to do it exactly
Yeah.
because listen, a spot in the Super Bowl, a commercial spot in the Super Bowl, they're going for like 8 to 10 million. Like it's
Yeah.
not a joke. Like these brands have to pay a lot of money just to have 20 seconds. So if you see a commercial multiple times during the Super Bowl, know that they spent some bread so that way they can have it go that way. But that's the other thing too is like when you have certain people in the room that can create things that make sense, then you also have things like the Adidas commercial. Please tell me you have seen that Adidas commercial with Candace Parker and Satu Sabli and just like all the Adidas women WNBA athletes. And it's like very like heartwarming and like Satu makes like a half court shot and they're all like celebrating her and stuff like that. And they're like sitting there like talking and they're like, man, like she's the truth. Like she always goes right, but she's left-handed. Da, da, da. And they're like, I'll send you the commercial. It is fantastic because Candace Parker is the president of basketball at Adidas.
Yes. And last one on commercials. Have you seen the RDC World commercial for women's basketball?
The what?
Do you know what RDC World is? The people who do the like I'm 36, like who do like the Jermaine Cole, like the skits on YouTube. It's like they're like all black. They do like anime skits, LeBron skits. They're like you've never seen like the video. Like you've had to see. You've
not
never seen
on that corner of the internet.
You've never seen like the video where like LeBron after winning the ring is like, "Give me the ring, give me the ring." I have so many videos to send you. It doesn't matter. It's a collective.
I'm like absolutely not.
It's a collective of black and brown people who started with like anime, and then they got really famous doing like skits on like when LeBron won the championship, they did like a skit that was like LeBron taking people's ring because he had to win it by himself, and like they did like when they traded AD and a bunch. Either way, there's a commercial. Okay. Whether you know who they are or not, have you seen the commercial where there's like hecklers and they're like opposing team heckler? She can't go.
Yes, it's Under Armour commercial. Yes,
all of those people. That's RDC World. It's
I don't know those people.
Yeah, it's a group of people who started doing skits like years ago and like blew.
Oh, I thought they were actors. I had no idea.
No. It's just it's a group of friends that I will send you some videos so you can see it. But either way, like that commercial is great. And it was also great because like it's a group of dudes who literally just was making YouTube videos and now they're in Under Armour commercials. But like
lit.
Anyways,
the point is
we have made our point. Please, what is the point? Say it one more time.
The point is no one watches men's sports. No, I'm just kidding. The point is women's sports are so important. And when you pour resources, time, effort into marketing them properly, it will yield great dividends. So super regional for the tournament, it was definitely a decision made by people who felt like the game was stagnant or was only going to be in one place. And, you know, now we see that there is room for it to be a similar structure to the men's. Now, we are not going to be recording again until the actual day of the championship for the women's side. So we're going to go very, very fast and just I don't even have time to review the games. I'm just going to say.
No, we like for reference, for those of you who listen, that conversation was our 2-minute drill.
Yeah, we spoke about it for 30 minutes. So
let's just
look at the women's bracket. We're going to say who the final four will be fully determined by tomorrow. So by the time you guys are listening to this, the final four will already be determined.
It won't.
Yes.
Those games are at night. So they list like this drops in the morning.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm saying like you'll listen to us, and the final four will be like determined the same day that you are
Yes,
listening to
yes,
this.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So, ciao. Anyways, we already have half of the final four, so there's not really much predictions that we can make. UCLA and South Carolina have already punched their ticket. USC and UConn are playing for a spot, and then Texas and TCU are playing for a spot. Very quickly, I do think UConn and TCU are going to be the ones who make it out of that.
Okay,
I'm going to be
your
honest
team
with you.
TCU as well.
I'm not team TCU.
Well,
Per se, I'm team Haley Van Lith.
yes, HVL,
Yeah,
HVL.
yeah, because I can't be team Sedona Prince.
Yeah,
I am so sorry.
I showed Shorty a video of Malaysia for Wiley, and I was like, if my daughter or if any of my kids do something like this, I'm gonna lose my mind and they're gonna kick me out the arena. And she was like, you have to act like you have some common sense. I said, okay, that's fine. And then I showed her a video of Haley Van Lith's dad because he be going crazy. I said, this is the best that I can do. This is the best that I can do.
When he was running down the stairs?
Yes. I said, this is the best. Like, I'm going to be extra. I'm going to be like, I love the girl dads, like the celebration. Like she hit a shot. He ran down flights of stairs. He was like, I said, people the best. Like, and I don't even need them to be at a D1 level. Like Haley's up there. It doesn't matter. Like I'm yelling at the band concert. But like, if they do reach that level, you can't be my child and run full speed, go behind the back, hop step, and throw up a shot and make it, and me not stop playing.
Child, please. My original Final Four was NC State, UConn, South Carolina, and Notre Dame. So I'm going to be off on probably two. But that was my original Final Four. But now that we have some, I think TCU and UConn. So mine is UCLA, South Carolina. Obviously, they already made it. UConn and TCU, because realistically, I didn't think UCLA was making it to that Final Four, honey.
I
didn't. I was not drinking y'all's Kool-Aid. I am so sorry. I do have a sip now from today. So you're team TCU, and obviously team UConn. So we're on the same page with the Final Four.
Yeah. I mean, I thought. I mean,
I will say, my Elite Eight was just it was giving very much busted. It's giving very much my bracket is done for the day. But I did see that some ESPNW posted that only 13 brackets are correct at this point, like out of the billions. So, none of us saw this coming. But my pick for the championship, I've been saying this on the internet. Hopefully you guys are following me on TikTok at DJ. You can also follow me on Twitch at Nasia_D if you would like to watch me watch games and be ghetto. But my pick for the championship is UConn. It always has been UConn. I think they're going to do it. I really, really do. They're the only team also right now coming into the Elite Eight, because they're still in Elite Eight play, is comfortably winning, like comfortably, and what's the word I'm looking for? And they haven't really experienced any real competition because they've just been smacking ass all the way through. Now that Juju's not on USC, I mean, there's not really much of an obstacle. Not saying that USC isn't good, but UConn is the only team coming into the Final Four that seems comfortable and ready to win a championship. The rest of these teams look like, it's getting a little scary.
Yeah, but it's just, and honestly, it's aside from the fact that like Paige is on a mission. Mm-hmm. We haven't talked about it because we haven't been able to record, but people have talked about it, and I agree. They are also legitimately the deepest team. Like Paige hasn't won
besides South Carolina. Yeah,
Paige hasn't won because she was injured, and then when she was healthy, everybody else was injured. Yep. And then on top of AZ Fudd, Paige,
Sarah Strong.
So I was gonna save her for last. There was another person. Who was that? Who am I thinking of? It doesn't matter. On top of them being back and healthy, Sarah Strong, one of, if not the best freshman in the country. So like you add her, and then you have what KK is giving you. You
KK
have
Arnold, Ashlyn Shade, Sophie Chen.
Ashlyn, I mean, the way Paige finished the game, they were going to win anyway. But there was through the first half, Ashlyn was single-handedly keeping them in the game with her threes. And so it's just like on top of
Ashlyn is the queen of a timely three, honey.
Yeah, on top of Juju's injury, on top of South Carolina, I'm going to call it their youth. because like I know they have older players, but their best players are young,
The
and
youngest.
and
Yeah.
and 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 so on top of South Carolina's youth, on top of these other things, UConn already had maybe the best chance to win, but then you add in Juju's injury, you add in South Carolina's youth, you add in the fact that Page UCLA just better lose before they play Page.
Well, they're gonna play Page. Because if UConn beats USC, then they're on the same side of the bracket. So UCLA and UConn got to play to get into the championship. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
UCLA and UConn
because UConn just made it. UConn just made it.
I'm assuming UConn will make it.
Sorry, UCLA just made it.
Yes.
So because they made it, if UConn wins, they play each other.
They're playing each other to get into the championship. Yes.
Oh, that's foul. That's foul.
Yeah.
That's foul. That's foul as hell. Because we just watched what Paige does to drop coverage. And no shade to Lauren Betts, but she can only play drop coverage. Paige is going to kill them.
Do the thing about it though,
to kill them.
The thing about it though is that like Lauren Betts is so good. She's so good. Like I didn't watch UCLA a whole lot this year just because I just wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid. Like I just wasn't. Like I don't have a problem with the team or anything. I just wasn't watching. I didn't really start to watch them until the tournament, and I watched obviously last night when they played LSU. Now, granted, I do think had there not been a lid on that bucket, LSU would have made it to the Final Four. But I'm not going to get into that at the moment because this just wasn't the best time for Michaela Williams to have her worst shooting game out of the entire tournament. Because if Michaela was actually making some shots, I'm so sorry. UCLA is not making it. Why? Because Samaya Smith figured out how to lock Lauren Betts up. And I hope so bad that Sarah Strong was paying attention. Because the way that she locked her up, still being at least 3 inches shorter than her, it was a masterclass in defense. It was a masterclass in defense as the undersized big. Oh my God. So if they can figure out how to lock Lauren up the same way they LSU did, oh yeah, it's over. Because realistically, like UCLA's like lot in life right now is Lauren Betts. Like granted, yes, they do have other players that can drop threes and do all these other things. I'm not knocking the rest of the roster, but it's also like they go as Lauren Betts goes. So yes. Yeah. And it would be actually really funny if Texas did beat TCU and then had to go play South Carolina for the third time. This time it would be for a spot in the championship. Yeah. That would be hilarious.
All right. Well, let's and maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but I'll just ask you a very quick question. I saw something on TikTok and they were talking about Paige, I believe, and just like, oh, sorry, no, they weren't. They were talking about USC's freshmen and how they keep winning without Juju. No. And they were basically saying, like, I don't think USC's coach is a good coach. Because they're able to do these things. But when you watch them when Juju's there, it's like she doesn't have any help because she's not designing any sort of offense or like featuring these players. And then Juju's out and these players can play. And it's just like you could probably design some things better. And do you have a thought on this? Because I have a thought. I texted you my thought on this even before I started hearing the noise, but I
don't remember what did you say?
I will say it, but I want to know what your thought is.
I think that Lindsay Gottlieb completely mismanaged Juju. Yeah. I didn't want to say anything about it at first because I don't like to criticize coaching methods, but I really, after seeing the way that USC played after Juju went down, I was just so irritated because it's like, okay, well then Juju's usage rate probably never needed to be nearly as high as it actually was. They could have really truly designed some beautiful team basketball around her and Kennedy and that other girl, the one who scored 18, Herschel or Heckle or whatever her last name is.
Yeah.
Plus Kiki Iriafen, plus whoever they want to put as the fourth person. And to see them play this team basketball, this beautiful, well-managed, well-choreographed basketball without Juju, it begs the question, is this a coaching thing or is this an ego thing? And I don't think this is an ego thing on Juju's part. I really don't. I think that she would do fine in
so it's I can tell you for sure it's not a Juju thing because I like on the podcast that we listened to, the women's basketball one, they were basically like Lindsay was almost crying when Juju went out. Like I think that she's like, we have Juju, I'm putting everything on her.
On Juju, yeah.
because like
she used to make it seem like she didn't take Juju out of games because Juju didn't want to sit down and this and this and this. You're the coach.
Literally,
She's
and
19.
she's literally she's 19.
If y'all look up by 30 and she don't want to sit down, oh fucking well.
What is she gonna do? Fight you about
manage.
it? Yeah.
You have to load manage a player like that who gets 40 minutes a game. You have to load manage that. And to me, there were times where Juju was on the floor and Juju did not need to be on the floor. And I don't know if it's because of pressure for ticket sales or because of broadcast deals and all those other things, whatever the case is, because USC had this ridiculous deal with Peacock where all of their games were on Peacock. It was very annoying. All of their big games were on Peacock. It wasn't on NBC. It was just on Peacock. And I understand that is a very lucrative thing and Juju needs to be playing and all this other stuff. But the way that team was structured, you would think that Juju was playing around a whole bunch of scrubs.
Seriously.
And it was just her and Kiki.
Like no disrespect to Iowa, but you would have thought it was Caitlin in Iowa.
You would have thought it was because Iowa is not worth anything now.
They have players. And so the thing that I said to you before is I was just like, USC never should have lost to UCLA. Because Juju, like I seen clips of other games, and now I'm realizing that it just sort of happened. It wasn't designed like that. Watch UConn and what they did against who they just played with drop coverage. And it was literally designed that whoever do you remember Oklahoma's Beers, Reagan Beers?
Mm-hmm.
The offense for most of the game was
look at you knowing names.
Whoever Reagan Beers is guarding is going to screen for Paige.
Mm-hmm.
And Reagan, because of who she is, she's going to drop. Mm-hmm. And so Paige hit felt like 15 mid shots.
Mid-range jumpers.
Mid-range, thank you. Sorry. Mid-range jumpers, because the screen was good. So whether you went over or under, she was still getting open because Shorty was in drop coverage. And sometimes for whatever reason they went under and then she was naked. And it's just like
in the middle of the paint.
I literally told you, I was like, why? Like before the game, I literally told you, I was like, USC is gonna win because UCLA plays drop coverage and they're just gonna put Juju in the mid-range and she's just going to hit a bunch of shots. And I don't think they did it all game. And it's like, it's not even that Juju just didn't do it. It wasn't the offense.
It wasn't planned.
You could tell that Gino said, if you are guarded by Reagan, doesn't matter which side of the court, you screen for Paige. Paige is going to go to the middle. They're going to drop. And it's lit. She had so many shots. And it's just, and so on top of everything that you said, just not even doing the right game plan. Because one of Juju's best parts of her game is the mid-range. Like just naturally as a freshman, and you like Lauren Betts is a great blocker. Why are you putting Juju out there so she can get blocked 4 or 5 times
every time she takes a layup
7 when she's going to drop and you're going to be naked in the mid-range? And so even before all the other things, and then I saw that because of how they're playing, and I'm like, yeah, I think she just mismanaged. I think she fell into, and that's the thing with like. I always, for whatever reason, I like to compare Juju to LeBron, but that's the thing with LeBron, where it's like everyone like blames LeBron for like coaching and things like that, and LeBron is like, I want to be coached hard, and a lot of his coaches haven't done that. But the coaches who have coached him hard, who've yelled at him, who've run things, who've gotten other players involved, those are always the team that he wins on. And I get it, you have LeBron, I get it, you have KD, I get it, you have Steph, I get it, you have these players, but you still have to run a system. You still have to get other players involved. You still have to. You got to be able to score when they're not in there.
The amount of times the offense was just Juju bouncing the ball somewhere and then taking a shot, and that was the offense. It's like, bro, you could still run an offense for Juju. Like, you could still do that. So
and the thing with Paige literally scored 0 points in the second quarter. And then when they needed her to take over, she scored 20 in the second half. 19 in the fourth quarter. But Paige doesn't need to be on all game because there are other players and they trust the other players, and Gino runs an offense for them. And you would think that USC doesn't have other players.
You would think the way that they have been playing basketball all year has been put the ball in Juju's hands in ISO. That is what they've been doing all year. And this is what I talked about when they were coming into the tournament, was all of these teams are going to game plan for Juju. What the heck is it? What are y'all going to do? What are y'all going to do when they game plan for Juju and they put 3 bodies on her every single time? What are y'all going to do? Because that is going to be somebody's defensive scheme. Is they're going to run a 2-1-2. That way they can have help side come and trap on each side of Juju, on each side that Juju goes to. That's the defense that you put against Juju Watkins, right? Like, what, you know what I mean? Or really, really, really hard man coverage. So like, what were y'all gonna do? Because again, the offense always seemed to be, to me, put the ball in Juju's hand, maybe put the ball in Kiki's hand. Because that's one thing I did notice in the game that Juju tore her ACL in, that for the first 5 minutes of the game, she was actually working very, very hard to get the ball inside to Kiki Iriafen. I don't know if anybody was paying attention. It was the first time I've really seen her try to distribute, genuinely try to distribute. She was coming down the court. She was, I don't know, maybe if they're working on her really kind of coming into more of a point guard role rather than a star guard role. But for her first 5 minutes, she was working very hard to get that ball inside to Kiki. So it looks like they were working on it. It's just unfortunate that we don't really know what that would have actually looked like. But yeah, what sucks, and I hate to say this like this, but what sucks is when that ankle buckled in that first game and she hobbled off the court. I don't know if you saw this video, but she ends up basically, it looked like, she bent her ankle. It was bad. Bent her ankle, went off the court, was like, shit, my ankle. But they still had the ball. She ran back onto the court. Called for the ball and popped a 3. It was actually insane. It was very Michael Jordan of her. But her body was breaking down. Something was happening to her hand. Her ankle hurts. She's limping off the court because she's being overused. And now look what happened. You're telling me there wasn't a few games where when they was up by 10, 15, 20, you can't sit her down? Like, but I don't know, because now she's been seriously injured, and I want to be very clear with what I'm saying. As an athlete, once you have experienced a serious injury, you become a lot more aware of the mortality of your body. And you become a lot more aware of the value of rest and the value of taking care of yourself so you can get to the next game. So I think that this is going to really help Juju understand that as much as you don't want to sit down, as much as you always want to be involved, you still have to take care of your body.
It helped Paige, and that's the best.
It helped Paige. It helped Olivia Miles. It helped. Mm-hmm. You can name a lot of people who've torn the ACL and came back and were a lot better. You can name lots of people.
Yep. All right. This show is not supposed to be this long, but
nope.
We got passion.
But you got me talking about women's basketball. So who do you think are playing for the championship? I'm sure it's the same answer as mine, but just in case.
It's for sure UConn. Hold on. Wait. TCU Texas is going to play. Whoever wins TCU Texas is going to play South Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be UConn, South Carolina. UConn's going to win.
Period.
South Carolina has been BSing their way through it, but I don't see. Maybe. Okay. You could argue maybe, especially on the theory of it's hard to beat a team 3 times. You could argue that if Texas gets through and the way South Carolina has been playing, that they may beat them. Mm-hmm. But I'm still going to go UConn, South Carolina, and UConn by 12.
UConn by 12. Okay.
South Carolina's been bullshitting, and Paige is not going to let that rock. Paige is not going to let that. I'm sorry. Paige is not letting that rock. If Paige gets to the championship, I think it doesn't matter who's there.
It's barbecue chicken. It really is. Yeah. It doesn't really matter, honestly, because they're going to win. I think the same thing. I think UConn, South Carolina. I do think the game will be closer, though. I do think it's going to be UConn 8 by 8 or 6.
You think South Carolina is finally going to show up? And maybe
I think South Carolina is going to show up. Yeah, I think because that's the thing. UConn came into their house and broke their streak and smacked that ass. They're trying to send a message. So I think there's a lot of.
You know what I think happens? I think UConn sends the message this game and the Final Four, and everyone's like hyping them again, and then they BS again, and Paige is not going.
And then South Carolina's.
No, sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe I said that wrong. I think South Carolina is going to make their statement this game.
Oh,
and they're going to win by they're going to win by 15 or something. Everyone's like, South Carolina's back. And then I think they're going to BS again, because it's just youth. Like, they're a good team, but it's just youth. It's 2 things. It's youth, and it's the fact that they just don't have the one dominant player. Like, there's not the one player that
You hate it when old girl said that, though.
Right. But my thing is, I don't think that matters against 300 teams, but it matters against UConn.
A couple. Yeah, you're right.
Like, you can't tell me Duke is going to beat them because they don't have a star player. Like, shut up. Like all of their players are so good. But when it comes to playing UConn, right? Like, if they were playing LSU with Angel, like, when it comes to the top of the top, then it matters. But, like, I'm sorry. You weren't going to tell me Maryland was going to win because they don't have a superstar when they have Malaysia Fawali.
Maryland did almost win, and that's
but yeah, they did. But my thing is, it's not because they don't have a superstar, it's because they're young.
I think,
and then they locked in, and then they were able to shut them down. I mean, Duke scored 8 points in the fourth quarter. My thing with South Carolina, it's not that they don't have a superstar, it's just that they don't have focus because they're young. Because when they need to, like Duke, they held Duke to 8 points in the fourth quarter. It's their lowest outage all year. Like, when they've needed to lock in, they've locked in, and it's never been scoring. It's honestly just been like defense. So like, that's why I don't think the superstar thing matters. But where the youth matters is you're going to BS, but all the teams, like I text you all the time, the problem with South Carolina is they've missed all these shots and you're only up on them by 1. If they miss all them same shots with Page, they're going to be up by 11.
By 20. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
I think the thing with South Carolina, I don't know if it's their youth per se. I think it's a matter of they're not used to playing close games. And you can tell that they're not used to playing
But I think that matters when you're young.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, like, I just think the South Carolina general population, the older players, the team itself is not used to, oh shit, like, we're not just fucking, what am I trying to say? Like, yes, I see what you're saying about youth, and that is playing a factor in it. But I also do really feel like they just haven't been in enough situations where every single possession mattered. And now they're in games where every single possession matters. Because this team, again, back to the youth thing, this team is the team that's riding the coattails of the one that just won a championship and was undefeated. Some of them were on that undefeated team. So they're just not used to, like, actually being in close games for real.
So I think you're right, but I think we're both right. And the reason why
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying, like, there's another element to it.
Yeah, but I think they're in close games because of their youth. Because you think of the things that keeps the game close. It's bad shot making. It's frustrating turnovers. It's like, it's little mistakes that, like for example, Malaysia Fawali got, and you can argue if they were all there or not, but she got called for like traveling like 4 or 5 times, and a couple of them were traveling. As a junior or senior, she's not doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there are a couple of things that happen that, like, some of the shot making, some of the bad threes, some of the, like, the bad passes and these things that are keeping the games close. That's not going to happen when Malaysia is a junior or senior. That's not going to happen when it's just, that's why I say the youth. And so then, because of the youth, they get in games that are a little tighter. And then what you're saying matters. And then it's like, what's going on?
Like,
and then they just like lock in. Where the difference with UConn, where it's not youth, UConn's problem is sometimes they just miss shots, but they never feel like they're gonna lose because they always have the poise and the things of the age, and eventually that wins out.
And they play like they're losing all the time,
right? Even where South Carolina doesn't, and I think that's because of the youth. And that, like, so we're both right in that they're not used to close games, but the games are, Duke scored like 30 points in one. That game wouldn't have been close. It was only close because of South Carolina's youth.
Bad shots and all those other things. And I mean, I do think specifically in that Duke game, they were playing against the refs a little bit, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But there have been a couple of games, not just with South Carolina, just in general, where I'm like, I don't know who's the bigger competition, the opposing team or the officials. Like, I really don't know. But anyways, enough of that. Because we have been here forever.
Yes.
My 2-minute warning is probably quicker than yours. And I can't believe this is your 2-minute warning because I could say so many things about this.
I'm going to have to change it.
Like, so you have to change it. I'm sorry, but it's also like relevant now. So I'm just like, will we sit here and be on the show for 2 hours? Because, like, oh my God, I have so many things to say about your 2-minute warning. Mine is very simple, it's very quick. If you have not tapped into Abbott Elementary, do that. The show is hilarious. It is so It is so Black in the best kinds of ways. Like, it just has the perfect cultural references. The jokes are hilarious. The chemistry between the cast is hilarious. I have been watching it nonstop. I just got into it because I watch sports year round, y'all. So sometimes it is hard to like watch actual TV because I watch sports. So when I get a chance to watch TV, like now all the games are over today, I will probably watch some Abbott Elementary. It has quickly become one of my favorite shows. It is absolutely hilarious. If you have not gotten into it, get into it. And we know for sure that there will at least be 5 seasons. So if you're like me and you have a 3-season minimum before you start a show, rest assured there are going to be at least 5 seasons.
You're like that too?
Yeah.
Okay. We be like this because everybody think I'm crazy for that.
No, I'm not doing this. I'm not falling in love with the show and then you don't bring it back. Get out of my face.
Yeah, like
I am not doing that.
And
The
I
only
say it all the
shows
time.
that I watch that are 1 season and I'm okay with it being 1 season is like reality love show. I will watch any cheesy reality love TV show. I will. I don't care if it has multiple seasons or not. But other than that,
that's why I love like I've mentioned this all the time. I love Netflix like little 8 episodes.
yeah.
Because I know they're only a season. And it's start to finish. Either give me
it gives you the whole story.
Or give me 4 or 5 seasons.
Exactly.
I don't want that in between stuff. So, okay. I'm trying to. I can't change mine, but I'm trying to figure out how to word it without going too deep into it.
I just feel like there's no way to go too deep into this.
This is what I will say, and if we do it, we do it. We haven't been here in like 3 weeks. If we go long, we go long. As long as you're okay, because you've had a weekend.
I'm not okay. So yes, go ahead. It's all right.
So then just don't say a lot. I won't say a lot. We'll be fine. This is what I'm gonna say. I think I'm not someone who believes that like society's too sensitive and PC culture and all of these things. I think so many of these conversations happen because people don't like the consequences of their actions. And I think that's a problem. You should be willing and able to accept the consequences of your actions. But the one thing I will say that sort of maybe differs from that is I think we've grown too comfortable with not being called out for being wrong.
Oh yeah.
And I know that you understand this because you're in a sorority and we have these things where it's like people can't accept brotherly and sisterly advice.
Yes.
We're like, hey, you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't wear this, or you should delete this, and like less serious things. And the example that I always use is Will Smith, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many people got mad at Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock. And I'm just like, since when could you not defend your wife? Because 50, 60 years ago, you could kill somebody over your wife, and that's not what I'm saying.
And that's fine. Exactly.
But like, since when can't you defend your wife? Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, since when can't you tell people that they're wrong? Since when can't you check people? And I don't think that we're too sensitive and like you shouldn't be able to make gay jokes. You shouldn't. Your joke wasn't funny. People make gay jokes all the time. If it's funny not punching down, it's fine. Yours wasn't a joke. You said it, and I felt like you believed
I hate trans people.
So, no,
am I right?
You can't make that joke, right? That's just not funny. You can get away with certain things. It's not PC culture. It's not sensitivity. You're just not good at it. And the things that you could get away in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, like I love, I love, Eddie Murphy's special.
Oh, I was like, I don't know where you're going.
like Eddie Murphy's special, his Raw and Delirious.
Raw is
they're so funny. My wife won't watch them because they're so freaking offensive. Like he could not do. I believe Eddie Murphy could do a special today and still be funny because I think he's funny. The special he did in the 90s, right? Yeah. The special he did in the 90s, he did in the 90s because he was allowed to do it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people who want 90s comedy and can't do 2025 comedy because you're just not funny. I've heard trans jokes that were funny. I've heard gay jokes that were funny. I've heard black jokes that were funny. I watch fucking Family Guy, but I watch it because it's funny. It's good jokes, even though like I watch fucking It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And the first episode of It's Always Sunny is the gang gets racist. That is literally the first episode, but it doesn't feel like they're not punching down. The joke of It's Always Sunny is the main characters. It's not the black people. It's not the women. It's not the gay people. It's not any of the things. The jokes is how awful the main characters are. So when the main characters get racist or they say these things, the joke is always on them. It doesn't make you feel bad as a person.
Yes.
And so I say all of this to say, Stephen A. is going on this, as LeBron said it, this Taylor Swift Eras tour, talking about him. And the problem is, you just could not handle being checked for saying something wrong. And Stephen A., you have said forever, why don't these people? I be at the games. I'm not hiding. I'm here. You can check me. You can say these things. And so LeBron finally does it for the first time in his 27-year career. He finally does it. And he doesn't even do it for himself. He does it because you questioned him as a father,
a parent,
as a man,
as
over
a parent.
his son, and now you are complaining and you're doing all these things. And then on top of that, you go on this, oh, if he would have swung on me, I'd have had to swing back, and all these other kind of things.
No one was going to be violent. Shut up. No one was going to be violent.
You said something you shouldn't have said. He came to you as a man, like you supposedly wanted your entire career.
You requested.
And you didn't like it. And then for the first time in his million-year career, he goes on a show platform, and it's an hour long. It's over an hour. I watched the whole episode. He maybe talks about you for 5 minutes, cracks about a couple
4 minutes and 37 seconds. Yep.
Cracks a couple jokes, and you're losing your fucking mind. But you've been talking about him for 20-something years, and you've been talking about his kid. And the argument that everyone makes is name another 55th pick that you've talked about. Nobody even talks about the first and second pick of last year's draft, who are fucking garbage. So yes,
cheeks.
This is the last thing that I'm going to say about it, because we're going to go too long. I think we have gotten to a place where people feel like, because of the internet, because of typing, because of things, that when you are genuinely wrong, you cannot be checked for being wrong. And I think it is insane that ESPN and media and social media and all these things have let Stephen A. get to a point where he thinks he's equal to LeBron James.
LeBron James.
You are not like Stephen A. You could retire tomorrow and we won't care.
LeBron, Devontae James. You think that you are in the same category as LeBron? In what context? Quickly.
He literally said, I'm going to be here when you retire. And you're still going to be talking about him, because you know who you're talking about? You talk about Jordan 27 fucking years later. When LeBron retires, he's not going to be forgotten. When you retire, my kid is not going to know who Stephen A. Smith is.
No one's going to be.
Because I don't got a kid right now. He's not going to know who Stephen A. Smith is. But you know who the fuck he's going to know LeBron. He's going to know Kyrie. He's going to know KD. He's going to know Michael Jordan. He's going to know all these people. And so that's my last comment. I just think two things have happened. ESPN and all these people have gotten to a point where it's insane that Stephen A. can even believe that he could say, I'm still going to be here when LeBron retires and things like that. But also, I just don't understand how we've gotten to a point where you can't address someone for being wrong. If you talk about someone's wife in front of thousands of people and on national TV, you should be able to address it. If you question a black man, any man, but in this particular case, a black man's who was a father at fucking 19, you question him as a father for caring about his son, for wanting his son to get to the NBA, for sacrificing all these things. You question him as a father, because what do you think Kobe would have done if you would have talked about Gigi? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think Kobe would have done if you would have talked about Natalia? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would you think? Like, you know, we can joke and play about Michael Jordan not loving his kids, but what would Michael have done if he was on TV talking about Marcus? Right? Like, because everyone's like super homophobic and transphobic and all these things, nobody talks about
Zaya Wade. Mm-hmm.
Like, what did Dwayne Wade do? Right? And I don't know the pronouns of Magic Johnson's child.
I think it's he, him still.
But like, who talks about Magic Johnson's child? Because what is Magic gonna do if you talk about his child on national TV? So we're at this place where you can't address people as a man for being wrong because you have a platform and you're saying shit, and then you're gonna get on that platform and you're gonna lie. You're gonna say he wasn't at Kobe's funeral. You're gonna say
now you're taking all my points.
At Dwayne Wade's thing. Sorry. You're gonna say you should have been at Dwayne Wade's thing when his son was in the hospital because he almost died.
Almost died.
Go ahead.
No, you took all my points. The biggest thing that I was irritated with is just that, like, we don't have real sports media anymore. And that is why I am so determined to be one of those individuals who become a very prolific figure in sports media. I hope that is the goal, because I want to bring back real sports media. I want to bring back real TV shows that talk about sports. We are now moving into the realm of love and hip hop.
Yes.
When it comes to First Take, because I don't need to ever know in my life that Kendrick Perkins has LeBron blocked on Instagram. I don't care.
Why?
Like, it's
Who
just drama and gossip and nonsense. And even when there was conversations about the WNBA and Monica McNutt called Stephen A out because you've never talked about women's sports now, and now the only time you want to talk about it is to accost and chastise these women who have been in the league for years over how y'all perceive that Caitlin Clark is being treated. So I've always been irritated with Stephen A because he does say outlandish things, and it's not about the sport anymore. And I don't feel like he has any real actual knowledge about sports. I just think that he's a crazy shucking and jiving black guy that they can put on TV, and he's going to scream and yell, and he's going to dance, and he's going to do the things, and he's going to, laugh all the way to the bank, knowing that he's offering nothing right now as far as real, actual sport commentary, because someone's fatherhood should never come up on a sports television show. That should just not even be a conversation. Someone's fatherhood, someone's manhood, anything like that should never come up on a sports television show. You should be talking about, because they're going to talk about LeBron no matter what, Bronny no matter what pick he is, right? They're going to talk about him because he's LeBron James' son. That's on period. Because he's also trying to act like LeBron was just mad about him talking about his son. LeBron was mad about what you actually said. And the thing about it is, LeBron has let a lot of bullshit that you have said slide. But a lot of things. LeBron has turned the other cheek, and he's been like, you know what? It is what it is. Now, has LeBron been honest about how he feels about sports media? He absolutely has. Because remember, that was just 2 weeks ago when LeBron said sports media. He didn't say First Take. He didn't say the Pat McAfee show. He didn't say ESPN. He said sports media is not covering the sport of basketball very well. That is what he said. And that man, and I'll be damned if Stephen A didn't crash out on First Take 3 days after that because he thought LeBron was talking about him. So hit dogs are going to holler. Hit dogs are going to holler because you know that you're not adding anything of substance to the sport anymore. We should be hearing about how the Cavaliers are having the best season of their freaking lives. That is what we need to be talking about. We need to be talking about how Boston's probably not going to make it out of the East because of the Cavs. That is the conversation that we need to be having. The conversation we need to be having is about how Wemby, now obviously he was out, but how Wemby was doing so well previous. Like, we need to talk about SGA finally probably getting an MVP.
Yeah.
And y'all talking about nonsense.
And and LeBron himself has said that. That's why he said he created Mind the Game. Because, like, just for example, just to use for an example, right? Because LeBron has said this himself. Basketball is the only sport that really does this. When Tom Brady was missing practices because he was getting divorced and he was having problems with his wife and like all these things, they didn't talk about that. That didn't come up on any of the NFL media. That didn't come up on NFL Network. That didn't come up on any of the NFL podcasts. All they said is Tom Brady's missing practices. This is what it means for the Patriots. And basketball, and I won't say the only, because maybe there's other ones, but basketball is the main culprit of there's no real analysis on the sport.
Excuse me.
The only time the NFL football really gets outside of football is the draft.
Yeah.
And it's because they think these stories are cute and they're not. But anything else, it's just straight football.
Sport. Yeah.
It's literally when a player does something wrong, it's, hey, this player did this thing, and then they never talk about him again. Nobody talks about the NFL. I can't think of his name right now, but the NFL player from Alabama who played for Jerry Jeudy, maybe. No, it's not him. Don't let me get that wrong. The NFL player who played for the Raiders, who killed that woman and her dog and went to jail or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's talking about him. Nobody's talking, like, even the most that people have talked about a player's personal life is Deshaun Watson. He's still playing. And there are a lot of people at NFL media who don't even bring that up. And I'm not saying whether they should or shouldn't. What my point is, in the NFL and other sports, it's about the sport. If what you did off happens and it matters, they'll say he did blank and he's going to get suspended, and then they either won't talk to you about you again until you come back, or that's it. It's not that, like, you don't know anything about nobody talked. Tom Brady literally married the top supermodel in the world. He is freaking Tom Brady, and she like doubled his salary, and nobody talked about the fact that they got divorced. Nobody talked about his love life. Nobody talked about his kids. Nobody talked about anything. Nobody talks about Peyton Manning.
Even when that whole
Peyton
thing went
Manning's
viral where
family.
he kissed his son in the mouth and everybody's freaking out about
No,
that. They didn't even talk
nothing.
about
No
that.
one talks about it.
Yeah.
Russ is married to fucking Sierra. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks like there was 2 clips about the fact that what's his name got married, got engaged to Normani. They don't talk about football players' personal lives. They don't. It's only in basketball. And that was LeBron's point. He created Mind the Game and he did these things because he's like, I watch football, I watch baseball, I watch these other sports, and nobody talks about any of these things. But then you come to basketball and they're questioning, and I saw, maybe it was Gil, it was someone who said, this is not the first time that Stephen A has had to get checked for talking about, they had to do it for talking about someone's father and how they raise their kids. They did it with Kyrie. It happened with LeBron and Bronny. It happened with LeVar Ball. It's happened multiple times where people's like, I have a dad. And I am a man. You are not going to sit here and talk about me and how I raise my kids. If you want to talk about them as a basketball player, that's fine. But you are
talk about that. Talk about that. Nobody's fatherhood should ever be coming up. Nobody's personal, and again, if there's personal life stuff that
affects the court,
if it affects it, then great, fine, who cares? But it's getting very like TMZ-ish. It's getting very like, it's getting weird. And to your point, when it comes to the basketball players, because I didn't even think about that, but that's very, very true. Like it's very, very weird. And it's like, why does any of this matter? Because again, the season is closing out. We need to be talking about Steph Curry and how it looks like he's not slowing down anytime soon. We need to talk about, is KD going to win another championship before retirement is what is inevitably down the line? Or is he going to try to play for 20 years like LeBron? Like, we over here talking about who's going to be the next face of the NBA. Shut up. Shut up. That is not a real conversation. So, yeah. And for Stephen A to act like a victim, because he's also done this too, and this is why I'm over it. Anytime he actually does get called out, then he goes on a victim tour for 3 days after that. Yeah. He's over there on Fox and wherever the hell talking about LeBron. He over here like acting like he was just like, oh my God, like he just walked up to me and I just had no idea why, like what is going on? You know what's going on. And he did that with Monica McNutt too, trying to act like he made her, because she called him out on the show and she said, no, Stephen A, you don't talk about women's sports. I don't. You don't. You act like this show is not streamable. We can go back and check the notes. You don't. And he was then like on his podcast talking about her, trying to make it seem like he made her. Like, first of all, you be wrong. And people should be able to call you out without you sitting here. Because again, this is an opinion-based show. You're not speaking from a factual place most of the time. So yes, there's going to be times where your opinion is going to be wrong or someone's not going to like it. And they have every right to tell you that. And you claim that you want that treatment. So
the rumor is he got rid of Max Kellerman because Max Kellerman called him out too many times.
I heard about that too. Because Max was not playing with Max would not be playing with him. As soon as Stephen A started going off the deep end and he started talking about stuff that wasn't factual, Max would be like, well, actually 81% of da-da-da-da-da. Oh, yeah, he had them notes ready. He was not playing with Stephen A. He used to come with receipts.
So,
and I knew
long story short,
for 2 hours with this.
No, we're gonna, and it's long, but again, we haven't been here in 3 weeks. That'll be fine. Long story short, Stephen A is insane. Basketball media needs to be fixed. And the other thing with that is just you LeBron should be able. Yes, love that for LeBron finally, and I hope other players do it too. And the last thing is just be mindful of what you say, right? And if there are legitimate consequences to your actions, accept them. And if you don't want the consequences, then don't say it, right? Like no, we are not too sensitive because you can't call people the N-word and you can't say trans jokes and you can't say all of these things. But you should be able to be checked if you call someone the N-word. You should be able to be checked if you go on a rant about somebody's wife and talk about the disease that happens. You should be able to be checked if you question somebody's fatherhood. If you are wrong and you are questioning someone, they have the right to handle it however they want to. And honestly, because LeBron is LeBron and because he's 6'9" and because of all these things, he just went and talked to him because he also would have been right to smack the shit out of him personally. And he didn't. And you should be happy that he didn't, Stephen A. But just more of the story, just keep people's name. Just keep people and their family's name out your mouth. if you're not willing to accept whatever consequences come with that. And
that's it, really.
That's it. Just be a fucking good person, bro. Like, what are you talking about? It's not that hard.
Or just be normal. Like, don't like. Why are you gotta be weird? Like, be freaking normal. If you want to talk about Bronny, talk about him. No one's saying not to talk about Bronny. It's just you don't gotta bring all this extra sauce into it. You can just say whatever it is that you need to say about it. Because the other thing about it too is, at this point, what you need to be doing is eating your words. Because that young man is dropping 39 points in the game.
Listen.
So what you need to be doing is running big back and saying, okay, this is what I thought of Bronny at the beginning of the season. This is what I think of Bronny now. This is this. And if you're going to have the conversation, because that's the thing is that you're doing it in a way that's really, really weird and disgusting because you think you're untouchable and you're not. You're not untouchable. And that's the problem. That's why you can sit on here and say, well, I'm still going to be here when you retire and blah, blah, blah. Not if you alienate your entire fan base because you've pissed off every
Not everybody thinks you're weird. Yeah. And the last thing that I keep saying this, but it just what you just said just brought me something. You know who else LeBron made jokes about? And this was actual jokes. This wasn't a problem. He made jokes about Brian Windhorst, talking about like that guy says things that I'm his best friend.
I love him.
Do you know what Brian said? He said, I don't have nothing. Because everyone tried to make it like, oh, he was dissing Brian. He was dissing Brian. And he was just cracking jokes. And you know, like Brian said, LeBron owes me nothing. I owe him a lot in my career. I've known him for 25 years, and I've always understood where we stood.
Period. The end. But as a member of the media, I have to have the conversations that I have to have, and it is what it is. Because that's the other thing too. Like, oh shit, that just brought up something we said. Like it was just like back in the day when inside the NBA was like, I mean, it still is very popular, but the players used to call them out all the time and say, oh, I heard what Chuck said on this, or I heard what Shaq said, and this and this, this. Players call out people in the media all the time. This is not like a new phenomenon that LeBron is mentioning people in the media. Like, this is not a new thing. The guys hear what is being said about them, and if they want to sound off on it, they're going to sound off on it. You sat at that desk and just was not ready for LeBron to really be about it and go to your fucking face and tell you how he felt about
because
you.
He hasn't done it in 22 years, and so you thought you was cool.
You thought that you could just keep dragging his name through the mud because what y'all starting to, hopefully what y'all are starting to see is LeBron is letting y'all know, like, he's not the one or the two, and he never was. He was just trying to play the basketball. But now, I mean, come on. The only thing that'll make this any sweeter for him at this point is that he wins one more championship. He goes on, plays 23 years, whatever the case is. He's going to retire and have the hugest retirement tour. He is the best basketball player we've seen since MJ. Period. The end. I don't care. I will not be taking any further questions. He is. So, like, now is his time to be like, y'all not gonna keep fucking with me. And since you want me to roll up, I'm rolling up. Hey, what you say? What was said?
Stand on it.
Stand on it. If he would have swung on me,
but he ain't have that. He didn't have that energy in person. He was
standing there looking real meek.
Yeah, he was real meek till he got behind that camera.
Get your 5'9" ass out of here, please.
The funny thing is he's not 5'9". He's actually tall as shit. But
even A?
He's like 6'4".
Ain't no way.
Yeah, he is. He's real tall. Yeah, he's tall.
Ain't no way.
Steven, like, because he actually, like, he wasn't a good basketball player, but you've never seen him stand. He looks like a basketball player. He's like 6'4". He's 6'1".
He's 6'1".
Oh,
that's his arms
are long as
average.
Shit, but like, yeah, he's 6'1". Okay, I thought he.
But
was
he
like
has the energy of a short man, so maybe that's the problem.
That's
okay. It's time to get off the show. We've been here too long because I'm saying crazy stuff now.
Thank you for listening. Sorry that we were gone for so long, but we had, birthday and travels and all of these things.
They only missed 1 week. We only missed 1 week.
Did we? The other podcast has missed like 3. Because that's right. Because we
were keeping it consistent.
Yeah, we all right. We cool.
But yes, stay tuned, guys. We will be giving you guys another roundup of our SEC games. I believe is the next episode. So we'll be talking about SEC next week.
Yep. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.